my ideal practice would be one where not only does no one have insurance, no one knows what dental insurance is. They've never heard of it. That's what I want.
It's like you Men in Blacked them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where the AI comes in, Alex.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Get me that, and then my ideal practice.
All right, Alex, today we are going to predict the future of dentistry.
Oh, dentistry. Okay.
So it's going to be a play on the old school Conan O'Brien when he would do like in the year 2000, right? And they're going to be way funnier than we are.
Yeah.
If we try to do that, it would just fall flat. Like,
Are you
that would be like the
gonna,
definition
Are
of
you
cringe.
singing it? Is that like with the high voice or whatever?
Yeah. I'll be Andy Richter in it. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to have Alan on again. So Alan, we got to hang out with Alan over at Voices of Dentistry and got to speak there and got to go on his podcast. And then there's I guess a reciprocation thing in podcasts where now he's forced to come onto ours. So
it's required. It's required.
Yes.
It's unspoken, but it's contractual for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Cialdini.
Yeah.
Right there.
One of
right.
Those. Yeah. So yeah, we kind of talked to him about this a couple of weeks ago, and I think we dive into it. So the frame of this is going to be in the year 2050.
Okay.
And then we're going to make a statement, and then we just get to rip on each other or rip on it in general.
I'll be like 30 years old. Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, Alan, do you have one?
So just 2050 puts me at 69 years old. What do you think of that? That's kind of funny.
That's old.
Right? And
are you going to be in the chair still?
Yeah.
Well, which
what
chair?
kind of chair?
What
like wheelchair or?
Some kind of chair, I hope. Well, my dad practiced until he was, he sold his practice 13 years ago, and he's 84. So he practiced past 70. So if longevity in my genes says anything, I could be practicing. I don't hope that I am, to be honest. I don't hope that I am, but I could be. Okay. So there's that. Will you guys still be practicing? Shoot, you guys might not be practicing next week the way you build practices and stuff.
Yeah, I don't practice.
Somehow I just get dragged in. It's just pipe dreams.
I was going to say, Alex doesn't practice, so there's no future involved here whatsoever.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
This is all just speculation.
This means nothing to Alex. It affects her zero. Except me. It affects me, which then I'm going to just bitch to her, and then it affects her. So
but I'm still opinionated about stuff, and I know what maybe could happen.
Sure.
Maybe not.
So I think I will be. Maybe. Possibly. I think I'll probably be at least thinking a little bit about dentistry, whether I'm practicing or not. Because my dad is, like I said, my dad is 84 years old, and he did not renew his license last year, and he's already regretting it, even though he doesn't necessarily have a plan that he'd want to do it, but he wished that he'd because he misses it still. But he was one of those guys that really liked being a dentist the whole time, too. I think that there's more of those guys in his generation than in mine. And probably even less in yours. That's what I
think. Less, yeah.
Which there is a little bit of that, like, it's kind of nice, right? Like, because if you want a dentist long term, you kind of want someone like your dad who, like, lives, eats, and breathes it, right? And just, probably still can place a really good gold foil, right? And I have no idea how to do that at all.
I don't know that I never. Okay, when I was practicing them, I don't think Dad ever placed a gold foil, but I think he did have one of the little impact drills or impact things for it. So I think it had happened, but I don't think he was doing it then. So you figure you'll be in 24 years? What do you think? Alex, no, we know for sure. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, nothing with me, but I will have to take our kids somewhere. So it does impact me because I make all the decisions.
Maybe at that point, kids will be like potential new dentist age, right? In 24 years, like they'll either have, they'd be 30 and in like mid-20s. So like potentially they could be at that time where they could be going into dentistry, right? So I guess from our frame, maybe that's how we'll frame it from our end.
Okay, so then the question I have for you now, so 24 years from now, knowing what you know about dentistry in 2026, would you recommend dentistry to your kids?
We have different thoughts on this.
It's hard.
No, we have different thoughts on this.
Why?
I was more of a
I don't know if I've talked to you about this.
Yeah, we have.
Really?
Yeah. I was probably quicker as a hard know if they have my personality. You said you'd be more open to it.
I'd be more open to it. Yeah. I still think it's important to, get a good education and then do something else.
Yeah, I think we both said regardless, it would be good for them to make sure they're educated, right, and going to school and all that. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think that really depends. Like if I had a kid now, like going into school now, I don't know.
I don't know.
I
guess
tough.
that's our answers now. After this episode, let's revisit and see if that changes.
24 years. We'll set the timer. Yeah. So my kids are of an age where they would be more considering it. I've got Jacob will turn 16 next Tuesday. Sean is 18. Both of them, I don't have to worry. I don't have to have an opinion because neither of them are interested in the slightest. In the slightest. So, if they were really interested, I would have a hard conversation with them. I really would. And it's only because of the sheer amount of debt. Honestly, I say if you can get a scholarship through the military, do it. If you can't,
that's what I did.
Don't. That's where I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because the debt makes you make bad choices. I think I really do, and that's maybe a little bit of a hot take. But when I had $85,000 in debt when I got out, and the payment per month after I refinanced after 2 months was $446.71. That was not. I don't think that affected my choices that much. It was a relatively low payment. That's not realistic for people now.
No, I mean our buddy who's the orthodontist 2 doors down. Man, I don't know what the actual numbers, but I swear a while back he was telling me his was like $4,000 a month or so for like
I believe it,
for like
sure.
over
mortgage,
10 years.
Yeah.
That's like a $1 million house mortgage or more, right? That you're just paying. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's fair to say
But the hot take is that I think if you sat me down with a $446 payment per month or a $4,000 payment a month, would I look differently at a patient's mouth? That's the hot take, friends.
Does that
hot take?
Yeah,
I'm not saying anything more than that, but I think that's a hot take.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just look at all those patients the same.
Yeah.
Like I have a $4,000 payment.
Well, no, that's probably the right answer. Actually, that's probably the right answer. But yeah,
I treat everyone equally.
Well, yeah. Right. So the line that the patient gives you is, "Oh, what? You need to make a new payment on your boat?" And the actual answer for the new dentist, "No, I have to pay my loans."
Yeah. No asshole. Do you want to pay my? I have like a
open wider
mortgage. Yeah.
You know the answer to that quip is, "Are you kidding? That was paid off years ago." That's the answer. That's the answer. Or better than that, I bought it with cash. Jack.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay, so do we think that we sort of went to in 2050, is dentistry considered a better or worse profession as a person? I don't know. Hard to say, because I do think. Do you think? Okay, what will corporate look like in 2050? So in 24 years, will corporate have a bigger place? Will it have faded? What do you think?
I don't know. I'm super neutral with this. Like I could, in 24 years be like, oh yeah, that happened. And then if something else happened, be like, oh yeah, I guess that happened too. So it's like, I don't have like strong opinions about it. That's why we get to
make audacity, like
I have strong opinions.
But I do believe that there is like that pendulum swing. Like it will, like if we're going more into corporate and that sort of way, I think it'll rebound. And I think there might be less corporate, more like people that actually like dentistry and doing the dentistry, and less people that like to do the business aspect of it, and everyone just becomes like technical.
And I hope that's the case, because I think for our profession to survive and continue to grow and be better, I think we need more dentists that love being the dentist, right? And I think we get dragged because we're wearing all these different hats as like dentist / business owner, right? And so I can see the argument on if dentists love dentistry and they can just focus on being a better dentist, it's probably better for patients, right? Like that's what I would want.
It is.
Okay, so
if they don't have constant financial stress from whatever. I mean, the reality is I'm leaning back to those $4,000 loan payments and stuff like that. But if you just really like dentistry, want to become a better dentist, and you don't have like stressful, crazy financial problems, that's the person you want working on you, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
For sure.
100%. So since we've sold to a DSO a few years ago, right? And I mean, there's positives and negatives with it, right? At least in our experience. And I think what I've learned is it just depends on what your goals are. And we even talked with the head of our DSO on this. And I think, ideally, if I was running a DSO, I would want that dentist that still has a long runway that I'm considering partnering with, right? I think that's the one thing that I've learned is if you're going into it and you're like, I want to sell my practice. Well, a sale for most people usually means there's a defined exit. I'm going to be gone in 6 months, a year, 2 years, right? Which is how it traditionally is with a private dentist.
Yep.
Cool. Do that. I think dentists need to understand that's not going to be the case if you're going to a DSO. That you need to frame it as do I want to partner? Are there things that I want off my plate, right? Can they handle it well? But don't go into it thinking that it's going to be a quick exit.
Yep.
And I think maybe that's one thing we kind of went into differently that maybe I would, if I could advise anyone, it's and that's not a bad thing. If that's what you want, then go into it as a partnership. I think what's going to happen though is, dude, there's it feels like the DSO space is was such a hot space, right? There's every state now, there's 4 or 5 mini DSOs that are going, right? I'm sure Michigan has there's a group of guys who have 30, right? Back in Indiana where we're at, there's several these little mini DSOs that are starting. And I'm hearing a lot of them are struggling to grow out of that growth phase that they have, right? Where they're okay, we bought 10 practices, we bought 20 practices, right? Okay, we want to be like MB2 and have 800 practices or Heartland, right? I don't think all of those guys are going to do that. It's more competitive space now, right? MB2 Heartland was doing that when there were a few big DSOs.
Yep.
And so I think what's going to happen is you'll still see consolidation, but I think you're going to start to see the big guys buying up these smaller DSOs that can't do the same things that an MB2 did, which was recap every 4 years, recap. And these guys who were, it's almost like it was back in the heydays when, this is going to date me as being too young to know this, but the computer days, right? When you saw the people who were the first investors in say Microsoft and all that stuff, right? They made a shit ton of money, right? And I think maybe that's how some of the dentists who got into the Heartlands or the MB2s 10, 15 years ago were doing. I don't know if that's going to happen in the future. I think those big, I'm going to 10x my money is probably never going to happen again. It'll just be lower returns. And I think it'll consolidate. This is my prediction. It'll consolidate into a few huge DSOs that just start buying up the smaller DSOs, and you'll have 5 to 10 of them that have, let's say it ends up being 50% of corporate, 50% of dentists and dental offices are corporate. It's going to be 5 to 10 DSOs, and then everyone else will be private. Because I
think the one thing that people think about with DSOs, I think a lot of times people think DSOs and the DSOs are just run very well universally, and that and I think that's not true. I think DSOs are probably, there's as many different ways of stuff that's run as dental offices. So there's plenty of DSOs with people with big ideas, big plans that actually are not run very well, or something happens. So the reality is I think that what we see plateaus at some point. I don't know what that percentage is, but I'll bet you it's not even 50% when all is said and done.
Yeah. I think you're right. I don't think it will, because it is different when, man, a dentist who owns his own practice, right, has his own team, and it's a lot of work, right? You get burnt out when you're a dentist, business owner doing that, but man, you have your pulse on where's my new patients, right? Yep. How's my hygiene retention? How am I tracking all this stuff? You're on it a lot because like you said, you now you only don't have student loan payments, you have a business loan, right? For practice, right? Yeah. And so there's so much constraint on that. So I think you're I'm going to run a tight ship.
Or you're old like me and you have no debt. I paid my practice off in 2004, I think. My building will be paid off. I bought my building in 2013. My building will be paid off in 2028. My home will be paid off in 2028. Basically, I'm going to be essentially free and clear from most of the big stuff. And I'm keeping track of less. to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm doing the opposite of what almost every dentist is I'm not optimizing my everything. I have a lot of time off. I'm just I could tighten up everywhere in my practice if I wanted to, but I kind of don't want to because it's just fine. It's doing fine, and I'm kind of
dentistry is now a hobby.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite there, but that's the argument. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. But I think that for someone my age, which is, solidly Gen X, that is how a lot of us are. And I know a lot of my colleagues around my age that are selling and retiring now, and they're in their, late 50s, early 60s. And either they've done well enough in investing, or they just don't need that much. Like their lifestyle is such that they're doing okay that way. I don't see a lot of them starting a new career or doing, maybe picking up a day or two somewhere. But it is interesting to me, and I think that one of the problems, it all comes back to this, I feel like, is just the sheer amount of debt that it costs to become a dentist now, which makes the way people look at things a lot different. Like I can afford to like do less if I want to. I don't have to be driven like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I also think.
You go ahead. Yeah.
So, along with my theory of more people getting into dentistry that want to actually be a dentist, and less people are going to be business driven, because I think when you go into a dental practice in 2050, it's going to be like the dentist and like AI. So it's like the dentist does not need to worry about any of the numbers because they have an AI partner that takes care of all of the other stuff. And literally, like, you don't need to worry about hiring and firing and all the payroll and all that stuff because someone else, a robot, is literally doing all of that, and you can just focus on providing the service. I think that's going to, like, hopefully, I think that would actually probably be a better
that
model.
probably would be, like we said, I think we can all agree it would be better for dentistry if the dentists were solely focused on being a dentist too, right? And not having to wear all those extra hats.
I agree. Yeah. I think that the AI robot running everything is overly optimistic because human beings, if they're involved, are going to make shit worse. Like, I mean, let's be honest. If you're what I heard is AI is going to hire and fire. I'm like, fucking AI, I'm in. Like, if I can just have nice interactions with my team about silly things happening in the day and not actually have to worry about that stuff, I'm there for it. I don't believe it happens. I think people make things way too complicated. I don't think AI makes it easy enough to do that.
See, I don't know how it would do it.
AI is literally
it wouldn't hire and fire because there would be no people, though. I guess it would, because you would train the AI.
You still need like a
spit. Who's going to clean teeth?
Yeah,
we can get there on the cleaning teeth thing, but I honestly, I think there's always people involved. Unless if you can get me dental assistant AI robots that are better at stuff than I am and know what I want before I want it, I'm there. I'll practice till I'm 400 years old. That'd be fantastic. But then again, why isn't there an AI dentist? Why do they need me if they have that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I love the idea of AI. I hope you're right. And I do. I mean, like, AI is changing so quickly.
Alex just doesn't want to have to deal with people, and so this is her way. This is why she's very like. For me, I'm like, no, that's
work.
Okay.
This is absolutely going to work.
And she's like, no, I'm going to make this work because then I have to deal with less people.
Because I can do I can yell at AI like when I type, and I'm like Gordon Ramsaying like this AI going like, what, you stupid, whatever.
Yeah, you idiot sandwich. Yeah.
No. I'm very polite, but
I get nervous to be angry to the AI because I don't want it to remember. It remembers, right? I don't want to. I don't want to go to ChatGPT.
Some of them don't remember.
I know, but I don't want to go. I don't want to yell at ChatGPT and like 6 years down the road, I find out that it killed me because it remembered this one random thing I said that was
figure out if Google Gemini knows me or not, because I've been using it for a long time and it doesn't seem to remember much.
No, it has like a memory of how many messages. There's different LLMs out there that
Can you make it so it isn't so? Okay, you put in a prompt, and it's a simple prompt. And that is an amazing idea, Alan. Fantastic. I'm just like, can you turn that part off? Because I'm sort of over it.
Yeah, I always have to say, like, make it AI sounding. It's always like, or it'll be like, this isn't theory, right? Okay, yeah. It's so melodramatic, right? It just, it's everything's so big. And you can read it a mile away.
It's proven to me there are some things that it is really good at and some things that it's just not very good at. And I mean, obviously that's, and maybe that continues to get better. I did listen to you. I'm going to send you a link and maybe we should put it in the show notes. The latest episode of a podcast called The Last Invention, which is a really good podcast all about AI, talked about the AI skeptics And it's the part of the conversation that very few people are having. It was a really good episode, and I was kind of I'm probably going to listen to it again today because I was driving home from Chicago, so I had nothing to do but listen. It was great, and it was like there's a lot of people out there that think AI has reached as much as it's going to do, and it's just a party trick. I want to believe what Alex said, that it's going to run my practice for me. I want to believe honestly that all I have to do is drive, show up, give some shots, and drill some teeth. I would love that. I'm here for it.
If you like our podcast, check out Alex's newsletter, Just 2 Minutes. It's full of great advice, which makes sense considering it's her thoughts and not me sidetracking her every 2 seconds. You can subscribe at coupleofdentists.com. The link is in the show notes. Now, back to the pod. All right, cool. So I just saw this recently. Someone posted, like every year, like, what is it, USA News and World Report or whatever says, like, their top 100 jobs, right? And someone posted, they're like, dentists got hit pretty hard, right? I think we were, like 62 or 68? We were somewhere in the 60s. What did we drop from? I feel like we were always consistently, like, top 10.
Yeah, top 10. Yeah. Orthodontist was always the big one.
And we dropped down a lot, 62, right? Wow. So do we think in 2050 that dentistry is going to be... Are we taking the over-under on if dentistry is going to be at, like, 62 best job, or is it going to be higher or lower in 4 years?
That's a good question. I think, okay, so where does dental hygiene fall there, too?
They're way higher. They were like 10. Okay. Yeah, no shit, man. They're making like as much as we make now.
It depends on what the criteria are. Like most hated job by like someone else.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at ownership of a practice, it has sucked more because everything's more expensive, including labor, equipment, rent. Everything's more expensive, and we've not. I mean, if you participate with insurance, if you deal with insurance, you've not really seen those gains. So clearly, there's got to be give somewhere, and it is probably in your income or how much you have to work to get that income. So, I mean, on some level, that is just like a quality of that might be why we're talking about lower. I think it'll be higher than 62. I think it's generally speaking, a lot of people really like
very
it.
optimistic.
Yeah. We're kind of at a low point a little bit. Like we'll
I
out.
think we'll go down further, and I think dental hygiene will be not on the list because it won't be a profession anymore.
I think you're right. Let's talk about that. I thought we were going to go. So before I go from there, I could see if we become even more like medicine, where it's more like if the consolidation goes into almost hospital models.
Yeah,
I could see it being even worse to be a dentist. I'm seeing my sister-in-law is a family practice physician. She owns a practice. And it is rough. It's continued to get even rougher for her because she's like one of the only independent ones in town. They've all been kind of eaten up by the local hospital system, and so it's rough being her. Because honestly, even if you can get employees, they get eaten up by the hospital. Everyone's throwing money.
Yeah, I mean, so how does it work?
Like, I kind of feel that. I get that, and that would make it worse to be a practice owner too. If you get to a point where you just can't even keep an employee long enough because someone else is going to throw money. There's an end to the money, by the way. Like there's an end to how much you can pay your employees because you can't make more. It's like So okay, with that, that's a segue. Why will hygiene not be a profession anymore?
Because again, Alex doesn't want it to be. She's just putting it in the universe.
No, but I completely agree with Alex, by the way. But I'm curious why, or it will be a very different profession if it is.
Yeah, because I think eventually we'll be able to train assistants on the job to do that that task of cleaning teeth.
Cleaning all teeth or doing SRPs?
No, SRPs is a procedure, and I mean I think. Maybe I'm the odd one out. I don't mind doing SRPs. It's like, it is what it is. You just...
No, when you got that big loan payment, right? SRPs aren't too unproductive, right?
Yeah. I mean, you tack on like the laser, the irrigation, all the stuff.
And the timing. The timing is different, I feel like. One thing, I don't know, Alan, if this is with you. I mean, do you need an hour and a half for two quads of limited SRPs? Okay, no, you're okay.
The other thing, scaling and root planing under high magnification is a very different procedure, and actually it's easier under high magnification because the reality is like it isn't all by feel. You can actually see stuff. It's wild.
Yeah,
it is absolutely wild. I will say this: the air polishing revolution with EMS and woodpecker and all that stuff, that's real. That's real. If like you can turn over hygiene duties really quickly, really efficiently, and then the thought process, okay, well, then you spend more time with oral hygiene. That's great. That's fantastic. But if you don't want to spend more time with that, I mean, I just would recommend any dentist who hasn't done it, go find someone with one of these units. Go ahead and disclose your patients. Put a Mr. Thirsty or one of those suction mouthpieces in there and Optigate. Use it yourself, and then tell yourself, how long does it take to do a prophy? And not just like, man, I'll spin but like a really, really high quality hygiene biofilm removal. It doesn't take long. It's like a fucking video game. Unbelievable. That's awesome. You dye the stuff. It's purple or pink. You take the air polisher, you get it off, and if there's calculus left, there's a EMS. You just zap that stuff off, and it is. I mean, and do that under a microscope, and you tell me that a dentist can't do hygiene. I mean, honestly, I could train anyone to do that too. That's the other crappy thing. Hygienists are just saying mean things about me, and I'm totally here for it. But the reality is like a hygienist could also do this very well too. But the story is like what we get paid by insurance to do that for a hygienist. I don't know. And I mean, it's like an hour to do a prophy is crazy. It's
I know. How many times have we like gone over the patient's mouth?
Good with oral hygiene instruction and education, and you can get patients to do treatment that wouldn't. Great, I got that problem. But if you're just cleaning the teeth in an hour, I don't know, man. I don't think you need that long. And there's
but you can also be like a fit. Like I'm a talker, right? Like I could sit in a room for 30 minutes with a patient, but I also learned too that like I can also get the same point across. I can have that same relationship with a patient in like 3 minutes. It's just being focused on what you're saying. So like, you know, like
because I think they don't. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to speak for all like hygienists, but we know that if you spend too long on a crown prep, you're gonna F it up. Like you're gonna make it worse. So there's a point where you're like, I'm done. There's also a point in hygiene when you're like, they're clean, you know, and it's like it's done. And so you don't have to like spend so much time. Just like do it, focus, get it done.
So we have some like I have one hygienist who she's really experienced and she's really good. And I think like a week ago she said, I almost find it like awkward when I'm done fast. Early. Right?
Yeah.
Like so that's me. That's like what you said.
Don't find it awkward. Patients
it doesn't.
Care.
It doesn't take. Yeah, it doesn't take an hour.
I know,
but I think we assume that the patient thinks unless we think the patient thinks it should take an hour, right? I think from her perspective, she's like, oh well, then now the patient probably doesn't think I clean that up. Well, then use that disclosing solution, right, and be like, it's clean, right?
It's like you know, it's worse than that. If you use the disclosing solution after a conventional prophy, you left a bunch of shit. Sorry, I'd say it's true. I did too. I do too. It's amazing. It is amazing. And honestly, I will say this, that I don't know that this technology gets caught on like I think it should. I don't know that it does. It should. It should be the standard. It should be the standard of care. It could make things, it could change a lot of things. It really could. It could change a lot of things. And I mean, it's easy because I'm sure those companies want to sell those units, but it is, when I've actually seen it and done it myself, it is freaking crazy how.
So then what, okay, can you describe what your patient comes in, you have them like swish with the disclosure.
Do a little chit chat with them. Do their medical history. Give them a couple minutes. Do a little FaceTime. Then put in the Isolite. Put in the Mr. Thirsty, whatever. Actually, even better if you want to put in an Optigate first, then a Mr. Thirsty. So that basically isolates 2/3 of the mouth, top and bottom. You take a little sponge thing and you use this.
Then they can't say no when that isolite goes in.
Can't say anything. You disclose and use room temperature or warm disclosing. So everything, rinse it off. You see a bunch of purple all over their teeth, or not. If they're really doing a good job, maybe not that much. You take your air polisher unit, which is it's a soft powder matrix in water. So it's a power washer essentially, but it's soft. It's not removing a bunch of tooth structure. It cleans this stuff off redonkulously fast, really fast. And you've got your Isolite in, you've done 2/3 of the mouth. You can see everything really well. Do it. It's red hot under a microscope. It's freaking awesome. The other thing is, and actually before you do this, you disclose them and then you show them.
Yes, I was going to say, you either like mirror or it's an intraoral photo or it's something, right? That like, you could,
if you wanted to, do the Isolite, then do all of it and take a full-on picture. That's probably the smart move. Then get the Isolite in there and go. But the bottom line is like the disclosing is kind of old school hygiene. That's my dad had hygienists that used to disclose me when I was a little kid. I haven't seen hygienists use it for years, but the reality is there's some value in that. And it's not to shame a patient saying you're not doing a good enough job. But the reality is I don't think dentistry works very hard on teaching people how to clean their teeth very well. I'm shocked at how how much when I talk about it with people, it's like they've never heard it before. And I'm like, well, what have we been doing here? It's the reality is you should if you're going to spend a lot of time on hygiene, most of the time should be showing them what they need to do at home because they see you twice a year. They don't see, and you will get all the biofilm off there. And guess what? It's back on there by the time they're in their car because that's how biology works. So the question is, you can do a great job for them, but it would be better to teach them. No one's doing that. You don't get paid for that. So the reality is but I think your patients would be healthier for that. I mean, that's the bottom line.
I know. That's why there's I don't know why it's you can only come in 2 times a year and stuff. That's why I want to get rid of
the blowout. Exactly. The blowout where they could come in and have biofilm removed any damn time they want. Yep.
Absolutely. Just come on in, pay out of pocket.
I want a clinic like that. That should be half of you. That should literally be, okay, your office has the split sides. You've got the blowout side. I know I've heard this on your podcast, but it's true.
Oh, then that's my idea.
But the other thing about it is that you have to remove the obligation of healthcare. Like, it has to be okay for them to come in, just have their teeth clean, feeling nice. So you don't have to have a dentist do a check every time they come in. Exactly. Now, the reality is that a dentist needs to examine them at least once a year, maybe twice. But if they want to come in and have their blowout every month, let them. And don't charge as much as you would, charge for the 20 minutes that it would take to do it.
Exactly.
Okay. So, because I was listening to your podcast, it was probably 6 months ago, the episode you did with Jason Smithson. Did I say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I've been talking to some of my other buddies about this too, and they're either not dentists or their wives are dentists, right? But somehow they're connected to it, and they're like, why, if someone's been cavity free, they come in they're easy prophies, do you have to see them twice a year, or can you see? Because he was saying in the British model, right? You necessarily aren't doing a cleaning every 6 months on people, and some people might need it more, we already do. But I know it's driven because insurance pays for it, right? So that's real. That's what I feel is the only reason we're doing that on some of those people.
Can you imagine a worse reason to do something than, insurance will pay for it, so that's why we're doing it? Mind you, medicine does that. We do that, all kinds of stuff. But we don't, as a profession, we are terrible at writing down what the risk factors are. Everyone knows it. You walk in, there's some people that are going to get a cavity 3 weeks after you place a brand new restoration. Yeah. And there's some people that couldn't get a cavity if you wedged a juji fruit up in their cheek. They just can't do it. So, risk factors and host factors are real. Then we never talk about. Coys has talked about it forever. But in general, we don't talk about that stuff.
The problem is because those insurance companies standardize everyone, right? Everyone's in a box, right? We give 100% coverage for 2 clean. How many patients do you have come in and they say, I want my 2 free cleanings, right? You feel like you're missing out if you don't get it.
That's why they're coming. Exactly.
We all know Eric wants more friends. If you're enjoying this episode, share the podcast and then tell them to DM Eric so he can hit his quota of 1 new friend per day. Now back to the episode.
Yeah. So do you think has wrecked it completely? Is wrecked.
I know. So
do you
think in 2050 it'll be more customized? Mm-hmm. We'll kind of step away from this insurance model of this is you have to do this 2 times a year or whatever, and it's more this is because AI knows me now. It knows what my risk factor. It knows that I like to snack after 8:00 p.m. and it knows I like all these things and all the whatever, and it's you're at a risk factor of this.
Yep.
You should go we'll listen to AI versus a dentist.
Yeah, we would, but insurance isn't. And I think,
but is insurance
but
part
I think
of it?
even when we were talking with the former ADA president about it, I remember I asked him about Canada's model, right, where it's they have suggested guidelines, but as the private dentist, you can charge more. And then the patient pays the difference, right? So they might say, we charge, it's $1,000 for a crown, but you could say, hey, I'm charging $1,300. Well, insurance will cover their percentage up to that $1,000, and then the patient just pays the difference. I forgot the terminology for it, but it's whatever that is that they pay that difference there. And he had said, he's I love that model. Good luck convincing the American dental insurance companies to do that. They won't do it.
Yep.
They're not going to. So I don't think everyone always likes to talk about go fee for service and do this. And I agree. I think conceptually it's good. I think those insurance companies are so big and so many companies provide dental benefits to people, and it's not that expensive for them to do that. That because dental insurance companies are in bed with so many companies,
Yep.
right? I don't think there's any way you get around that.
When you have a patient that hasn't been in for a long time, or a new patient that's been 8 years, 10 years, and you say, and they tell you why they haven't gone in, what's the answer 9 times out of 10? I haven't had insurance.
I haven't had insurance.
Yeah. Lost my job, don't have insurance.
And so the dental insurance companies have a couple things. First off, they think the patients don't even feel like they can go see the dentist if they don't have insurance. But they also think that whatever their insurance covers, the maximum amount that they would cover is all they could possibly need. There's no way they could need more than what their insurance would cover, because medical insurance doesn't do that. That's not how medical insurance works. I mean, if you have liver cancer and you need a liver transplant, you don't like remove the liver in 2024, and then when your benefits roll over, you get the transplant in 20. It doesn't work that way. And the reality is like,
that's like the dental implant, right? Let's place the implant in November. Yeah. And then let's restore it in February, right? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you don't.
I mean, it's funny, but the other thing is, I'm not laughing that hard because it's fucking real, is what it is.
I know.
Bottom line is, it's real. I'm so irritated. Like my ideal practice would be one where not only does no one have insurance, no one knows what dental insurance is. They've never heard of it. Yeah. That's what I want.
It's like you Men in Blacked them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's where the AI comes in, Alex.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Get me that, and then my ideal practice. The other thing, okay, I got another thing. So the reason that dental insurance won't be like that, medical insurance will collapse by 2050, for sure. There is no way that the American medical system can continue on the way that it is. I don't know how much you guys pay for your medical insurance for your family.
A lot, and we're even with like a DSO who's like paying part of mine, but it's still crazy freaking expensive.
It's insane. Like literally, I am dancing a jig because we're switching insurance like in 2 days, and I'm only paying $2,580 a month for my family. I'm only paying that much, like because on the same policy that I had last year for my family this year, it was $3,300. So, and I'm thinking to myself, that's a house. That's a house for, to make sure that my child can have their leg fixed if they fall out of a tree. I'm just thinking it can't keep going this way. So the story is, I think medical insurance is going to have to change in some way. And the reality is dental insurance will be affected if that happens. In other words, because dental insurance, the way that it's delivered is such a crap way to do it as it is. That
it's just like the ugly stepchild that's like gets attached. It's like the attachment. Yeah.
My favorite thing is that why wouldn't a patient think that their dental insurance works like their medical insurance? Why wouldn't they think that? Except for the fact that they pay like $7 a month for their dental insurance. So there's clearly...
and how many times, too, does a patient give you... We had one who came in, he's like, oh, no, I got dual insurance. He only had one company he worked for. So I was like, I don't know a company that provides dual insurance. And, of course, what was it? It was a medical card, Medicaid. Right? Everyone gives you their medical card. And they're like, this is dental, right?
That's true. But I really do believe that... I mean, okay, here's something else. God, this is crazy. So... implants. Everyone's learning implants. You got to learn implants are everything. Here's the thing. More people are retaining their teeth now than ever before. I know that sounds crazy because everyone's doing implants, but let's be honest. Implants and all on fours and stuff, that's great for older Gen Xers and boomers, but younger people aren't losing teeth the way that, and the reality is you got so many of my patients that when I started, 30 years ago, 1998 is when I bought my practice. So we're talking 28 years ago. Those were, so I had a practice full of GM workers and retirees. They had what we thought at the time was fantastic insurance, and I was charging $400 and some for a crown, and they had 90% coverage on crowns, and they had a $1,500 limit. I could do a quadrant of crowns, and they would pay like $200. Okay, so it was like the glory days. But the one thing that I've learned over 28 years. My best work back in 1998 doesn't last that long. So I've replaced plenty of dentistry that I've placed. The reality is that those were the people that were going to lose teeth because they had endo and crowns and they failed so implants have gotten a hot thing because people have lost teeth. Now, I do not have any statistics to back this up other than the fact that I feel like as a Gen X, I think we hold on to our teeth longer. I think tooth replacement is probably going downhill. Now, I will say this. If every tooth that looks like it might need slightly extensive treatment turns into an implant, that's a whole other story. But the reality is, from a traditional standpoint, people aren't losing teeth as much. If we'd be willing to fix teeth, even if it's a little tougher to fix them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we probably aren't, and I mean, who knows too, right? Like we're hearing even stories of, I think a lot of things that maybe caused tooth loss back then was, habits, whether it was how you ate, right? If you were, I don't know, drinking, doing drugs and all that kind of stuff, right? Like we know that can increase some stuff, right? But now you're seeing like, how many times do we hear now that like alcohol sales are way down? Other uses of certain drugs, are going down. I feel like the very young generation, like the people in like their young 20s, almost have like a kick where they're trying to be healthier, right? Than I think we were at that same age, right? And so
I can say this for, like I said, 30 years in dentistry. I would say 40+% of my patients were smokers when I started, and I'll bet you it's not 20% now, maybe less. And you don't, how long ago was it that you could smoke in a restaurant? There was a smoking section.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, as a kid, I inhaled so much smoke secondhand, probably, right? Like,
but on the other hand, when you think about implants, although smokers are terrible implant candidates, but the reality is, people that are losing teeth. I say this, and everyone says, "Oh, the research isn't there," but I'm like, yeah, okay. Who has severe perio more than smokers? No one. If you have severe perio where you have enamel wind chimes that are going to fall out on their own, that's a smoker 9 times out of 10, and there's less people smoking. So the reality is, like, some of the stuff, you'd be wise to be really good at restoring teeth at this point. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, it's great that implants are as good as they are, and people are as good at placing them. But I don't know that it's going to be, I think that maybe hits a plateau too. I really do. So in 2050, I think implants might be less of a thing than they are now.
I think so. And I think maybe we could by then grow our own teeth. So we're not even looking.
They've been saying that for a long time.
Oh, on Facebook, I get like every week, like, new study in Japan shows that they've figured out how to
they're close.
Your teeth. Yeah, they're close.
Those Japanese, I tell you, they are crafty with the teeth growing. But I could believe it at some point. I will say this: will it be a procedure that is simple enough for some yokel like me to do, or is that going to be like no,
it's like witchcraft. It's like you gotta like
the same
brew
thing
something.
When, like when we took courses and you'd watch, you go to some composite company would have a dinner, right? And they'd have some lecturer talk about how he's doing these restorations where he stamps it and he makes it like, you look at it and you're like, this thing is perfect. But then you're like, this is sweet. How long did that take you? And they're like, that took me about 2.5 hours. And you're like, and do you take insurance? And they're like, no. It's like, oh, well, I do. So like my DO filling that I'm getting, $80 for, I'd love to do that technique. Not gonna actually happen though, right? Like your point is, if you could grow teeth like that, that's probably gonna be, think about how expensive that's got to be for a long time before they get. So then someone's gonna say like, okay, well, do I get an implant? And that's, I don't know, prices that'll probably go down a little bit, right? So maybe those got down to $3,000, right? Mm-hmm. It might be $10,000 to like grow a tooth, and then people are still gonna talk with their wallet. And they'll still pick the implant then. So like,
also people pay for what they value on some level. I think educating, people who can really educate you on implants probably sell more implants. That's fine. I'll say that what's funny about I remember when I got out of dental school, the only people placing implants were oral surgeons, I guess, in periodontists. And now, there's plenty that are doing that too, but obviously general dentists are doing that very regularly, and that's not even a big deal. So maybe some of this stuff becomes more and more common. As soon as you can reimplant teeth and make new teeth, that the surgeons are going to be all about that, and that they're going to want to do that if they can. I think that'd be great. But I also am like, it depends on how much it's going to cost. And by that time, maybe the insurance landscape becomes such that we're just okay with. I don't know. I would like to think that it starts to make less and less sense to even have insurance. I really would. Whether that's medical or dental insurance. And because there's nothing better than a dental insurance patient who takes decent care of their teeth showing up. I love those patients for the fact that I love them as the people that they are, and not that, not the widgets that I can put in my office and do more work on them and stuff like that. I like working with people who are taking care of themselves. It's more fun and it's a better experience, honestly. Like I said, I'm old enough that I don't have to make that much money, so I'd rather work on patients that I like.
So this episode will have to then be like, you know, when like you were like in second or third grade and you write down what the future.
Oh, yeah,
is
like your
gonna
time
be.
capsule.
Yeah, a time capsule.
Yeah,
and then we'll have to dig it back up.
Yeah,
We're like, we were way off.
Yes. Yeah.
we dig it up and it's an authoritarian ruled world where no one has teeth. And we were all just eating oatmeal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we find out we were all in a simulation. Yeah.
Well, that is the most likely thing for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, no, that was fun. We haven't solved. We predicted everything 100% accurately on this.
I think we solved it.
We solved it.
I think so too.
Okay, we can say that. Let's make that statement. Well, it's always a pleasure, Alan.
Yeah, it's good to be on.
Having you on, and we'll have to have. Now it's our turn. Now the
okay, I'll get you back on in a little while. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good. Thanks.